able to make that in Blender. No, not that kind of Blender. In just 3 weeks from first picking up this new software. Now, that is completely a lie. You really thought I was going to be able to make that in 3 weeks. I did make this one though, but not quite in 3 weeks. Maybe slightly, actually a lot longer. My journey learning 3D actually started around 2 or 3 years ago when I first picked up Blender. I made some simple stuff like swords, a portal gun, which I remember was pretty cool, fish, and even a go-kart. I've lost all that stuff from my old computer, so just trust me, I guess. I remember I didn't know too much, mostly just the basics like extrude and stuff, and I was modelling things by creating a ton of objects for separate parts. I also remember struggling with trying to make characters. I did manage to make Luffy with him doing a animation and his arms stretching, which I was pretty happy about. But if you saw him, you probably think it looks more like Steve than anything. Alright, so a few years passed and I haven't really touched Blender since then, until about a month ago. Don't ask me why, but I wanted to make a ring. I forgot to screen record any of this earlier stuff, so you're just gonna have to imagine it. For my first attempt at creating a ring with no help, no tutorials, after not touching Blender for 2 years, and almost not even remembering how to move about in the software. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So, clearly I gotta get some practice and do some refining of my Blender ability if I want to make something half decent by the end of this. My next steps was to head onto YouTube and search up how to actually make a ring. Tutorial, yes, let me get some of that. Followed it step by step and bang, it's a bit better. I felt I absorbed a lot of the knowledge from doing this. So I continued on the tutorials path, this time going to the king of all tutorials, the Blender master, the ultimate Blender teacher. The Blender Guru. Yeah, this guy's pretty popular, but instead of following his donut tutorial like literally every other 3D artist, also because I'm pretty sure I followed it originally a few years ago, I decided to follow his lesser known Anvil tutorial, because Minecraft. And this is what I got, improvement, yes, yes, yes. So then I make a chair with chair tutorial, and it looks even better. I have textures, and in some parts of the tutorial, I was able to do the next step before he even showed it, which made me feel like a 3D god. Plus an animation which literally took forever to render. So here's what I've learned so far. Creating objects, then scaling them, and using extrude and move tools to make different shapes. Using the proportional editing to make curved objects, or the subdivision surface modifier. I learned some other modifiers as well, like solidify or mirror modifier, but subdivision is the main one I've been using. I also know how to use loop cuts to make edges harder. There's some stuff with fixing vertices and making good geometry where it has like edge flow or something, I don't even know. I'm not too good at that, but at least I try to make everything with quads and 4 vertices. And I'm just learning so much. I learned about UV mapping, animation with the camera and rendering, adding in lights and all this stuff. So going back in time to the time in between when I made the anvil and when I made the chair, I was experimenting with some different workflows, trying to find something that I liked, just making random objects and doing it in like different ways, different techniques. And I found out about this guy called Josh Gambrel, and almost went to the dark side just using Boolean modifiers for everything. But I decided to stay with trying to use good topology because it just felt better, you know? So, now we arrive to today. It's been a couple weeks since I made the chair, and I'm looking to do one final ultimate Blender creation to show my progress. Now, I'm guessing you already know what it is, because I showed it in the intro, but I still don't, so I need to find it. This time warp's kind of trippy. As I'm writing this, all I've got in the intro is put final epic 3D stuff, so, well, what should I make? Well, I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm just gonna come back to you when I got an idea.
2 hours later.
Spaceship, that's it, let's go. Okay, first I need to get some reference. Oh, even better idea, alien spaceship. Okay, I know what to do. I start out with just a cylinder and kind of add some random stuff to it with extrude. I couldn't really understand all the details and like in the reference, so I just kind of did my own thing. I'm using the same technique with loop cuts and a subdivision surface modifier, then extruding it in and out to add details. I had some trouble using the knife tool at some points, but it worked out. It's just relaxing to just work on it and see it come together. I didn't have too many issues while making this that I struggled to fix, which was nice. Then I continued on adding the different details and did some UV mapping and adding a metal texture. Took me some time to get it right as I forgot how to do it, but I got it, and I used select sharp edges to make the marking of the seams really quick. Then once I put on a texture, made it a bit more metallic, it's super satisfying how much better it looks straight away. Nothing like having to render every detail manually when drawing. I added a point light and did some animation with the keyframes, which was pretty intuitive to make it fly down to a stop. So then I hit render. I did it in 24 FPS, but only rendering every 3 frames because it's really, really slow. It was taking anywhere from 2 to 20 minutes to render each frame, so I might need to find some ways to speed that up in the future. As I finish it up, I should say, of course, I'm not that good at 3D yet, and I still have a ton to learn, but I do really enjoy doing this and starting to learn Blender as a whole, so here's the final render.